Hey everybody. I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk about the things I will and the things I will not miss about working at Union Pacific. Things I will and won't miss about my job. I'll try not to get too long-winded, but first thing I'm going to miss is big paychecks, overtime. I hadn't been a maintainer in 27 years, and when I was a maintenance foreman, I rarely ever worked overtime. When I got started maintaining again, I actually took a pretty significant hourly pay cut, but in the end, I earned considerably more money than I did as a maintenance foreman. I didn't take a lot of overtime, but I took enough, and now I'm going to be on a fixed income, and as I've said, it's a good fix. I'm not complaining about it, not at all, but I will miss those big paychecks. I'm going to miss troubleshooting. I love being a signalman. I love troubleshooting. I love the challenge of it. Even if I couldn't figure out what was wrong, which did happen occasionally, I still enjoyed doing it. I didn't necessarily enjoy getting called out in the middle of the night. I never really minded continuous overtime or getting called while I was still awake, still up, watching TV or out diddling around or whatever. But I didn't like being called in the middle of the night. And I didn't like being called if I was trying to make breakfast or going out to have dinner or something. It was a kind of a pain. But the troubleshooting itself, I will miss that. Always made me feel good to find a problem, especially a problem that 2 or 3 other people had already been out on and couldn't find. Not saying I was smarter than them. Sometimes you just get to chasing your tail out there, and that's happened to me plenty of times. But anyway, I'll miss the troubleshooting. I'll miss learning. One thing I can say about Union Pacific and Southern Pacific before them is that they didn't mind spending money and time training people. And I've always liked learning. I was a good student in school and always learned a lot in the training classes I went to, even ones that didn't particularly interest me. But in the signal department, training is valuable. If you're a signal guy and you're watching this, take advantage of all the training you can get. If you're a younger guy, take advantage of all the training you can get and try to go out as quickly as you can and apply it to your work in the field. It's easy to lose touch with what you've learned if you never mess with it. And with the new microprocessor signal systems, they don't have a lot of problems. So it's a good idea to go in there and scroll through menus and see where things are, and see what things are supposed to look like when they're normal. So when you do have a problem and you look at those numbers, you'll know if they're good or bad. The signal department, in my opinion, is the most important department in the railroad. People don't go across crossings safely without us. Trains don't operate safely and efficiently without us. They can lay the rails, they can have people driving trains, they can make the radios work, but if they don't have a properly operating signal system, things don't work. And that's what the railroad understands. All the railroads do, I'm sure. They understand that, and they want us to be as sharp as we can. I think that's why they don't mind investing in the training. I'll miss trains. I'm not a train fan. I'm not a rail fan, but I enjoy the history of the railroad, and I know that there are a lot of rail fans out there, and I like to shoot videos of trains to share with them. If you're a rail fan and people make fun of being a rail fan, don't listen to them. If it's your passion in your hobby, go enjoy it. And I'm gonna help you enjoy that. I have so far. I love posting the videos of trains. They don't always do well. Don't get a whole lot of views on just the videos of trains, but I'm still going to post them for you. Trains are cool. They're big and powerful and noisy, and I like that. I like top fuel dragsters and funny cars, and I like jets, and I like things like that. And trains certainly fit in that category if you've never stood next to the tracks while a train's pulling hard going up the hill towards Tehachapi or up whatever hill you live around or watch trains around. You've never felt them shake the ground like that and pull. It's pretty cool. I'll miss the guys. Granted, on this job that I'm on now, in the maintaining job, I didn't get a chance to get to know a lot of the guys that work in this group, but I'll miss the guys that I worked with for the last 20 years up north, up the valley. Um, Sad thing about that is, with the exception of one or two of them, I probably won't ever talk to any of these guys in my life again unless we just happen to run into each other. We don't have a lot in common other than our jobs. Those are the things that I'm going to miss. All right, the things I won't miss. I will not miss having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, I don't start till 7, and I get up at 5 so I can meet Don, my buddy, who's my maintenance foreman now, and our buddy DJ, Jimmy. He doesn't work for the railroad. He works for a water well drilling service, but he has coffee with us every morning. We have coffee, then we go to the office. And I still get up at 5 so far. I've gone to coffee all the 2 days that I've been retired so far, and I probably still will. My wife gets up at 5:30 to go to work anyway. She's going to wake me up. But getting up at 5 now is going to be my choice. If I don't want to go down there, I don't have to. And if I do go down there and I'm tired, I can come home and go back to sleep. I will not miss conference calls, the morning conference calls or the monthly conference calls. For all you bosses that might watch this, they're both silly. Sorry, they just are. And I don't know anyone personally who disagrees with that. The morning conference calls, you want to get everybody's overtime. I don't know. I get that. Make sure everybody's there. Do a roll call. But beyond that, reading rules and doing stretching exercises, come on. How many people are really doing those? I never did. Never. I did stretching routine when I get up in the morning before I get dressed. Sorry for that visual. But I do that in the morning, and I focus on the muscles that bother me the most. And but if I'm going to get out there and do some physical work, I focus on the muscle groups that are going to affect me most there, and I do a stretching routine there. I do a stretching routine before I play golf, but I don't do it during the conference call. I'm doing my time and all that stuff. The monthly conference calls, most of the time I didn't get on them, not because I was being rebellious or insubordinate, but because I simply forgot about them. I was busy doing my job. And most of the time, those conference calls, I never saw the point in them. If we talked about an injury or something like that, we talked about that stuff in the morning conference call, the day it happened or the day after it happened. And I never saw the point in talking about it a week later or 2 weeks later or whatever. So I won't miss that. I won't miss the computer work, the paperwork. I don't mind doing work on computers as long as the programs make sense. Ours don't. We have a field signal maintenance, FSM is the program we use to enter our test data, and it is the most user-unfriendly, time-consuming, ridiculous program I've ever had to work with. And that's a fact. I mean, it's just, if I were a computer programmer and knew how to do that kind of stuff, I'd get hold of the railroad and offer to sell them a program that I would write that would make those programs make sense. We shouldn't have to enter everything line by line by line and column by column by column. It's ridiculous. It's time consuming. Guys need to be out there doing, what they're doing and not wasting time trying to get that stuff entered and then doing a transfer. It's ridiculous. I won't miss being babysat. We started having telematics. They put those on our trucks about, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't even remember now. And that was bad enough. It was a computer that monitored your truck. We could see where you were, how long you were there, how fast you were going, how acceleration, braking, had all these parameters that it watched, and whether your seatbelt was buckled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they went to the drive cams, and I was never a fan of them, not because I cared that they watched me talk to myself or things like that. They only went off if you exceeded one of the parameters that they followed. But I don't need the railroad to tell me how to drive. I don't need them looking over my shoulder. It looked out the front window and back towards you. I never got caught using my cell phone. I rarely ever touched my cell phone when I was driving. I did occasionally, but I always made sure I wasn't speeding or doing anything ridiculous when I did. But the drive cams I thought they were intrusive, and I talked to myself a lot. And they don't have audio, so they say. I don't know that that's true, but I don't like being babysat. And in the FSM program that I talked about, there was when we go in the morning and start doing our testing, we're supposed to turn that clock on, and then when we're select whether we're going to be testing or whether we're going to be doing support work or whether we're doing preventative maintenance. There's nothing in there about having to wait for trains. There were times I spent anywhere between 2 and 5 hours a day waiting for trains to go by so I could get work done. And there's nothing in there for that. So I would turn that clock on at the end of the conference call in the morning before I left my office, and turn it off if I remembered to when I was done doing my testing or on the way home or whatever. It's never going to be accurate. I always thought that they created that to help them figure out whether or not they actually needed us, because they'll use that to get rid of jobs. I believe that was part of the early 2020 plan. And the 2020 plan, as I've mentioned in a couple of other videos, I'll do a video on that all by itself. I won't miss walking and working around the tracks. Every joint from my hips to my toes are shot from walking in the ballast all these years. Stumbling around, tripping over things, especially if you're working around a switch where there are rods and bolts and hut bolts holding plates together. There's many things to trip and stumble around on that. I've lost count of the times I've rolled my ankle in my career. I won't miss that. And I'm sure that after I've been gone for a month or so, my lower body will actually start to feel better. My lower body hurts all the time, my joints, and it's because of having to walk the way I do. I won't miss people not doing their jobs. Sometimes people don't do their jobs because they simply don't know what they're doing. We don't have a lot of what I would call stupid people out here. We do have a few. But a lot of these people, they just don't have the aptitude for it. It's not that they're not intelligent, but it takes a special kind of brain to be a good signalman. And I have it. I've always considered myself a good signalman, and most of the people I work with would agree with that. I'm certainly not brilliant, but I'm a good signalman, and I've always been proud of that. Some people are just lazy, and they know what they're doing. Some of them are actually pretty good signalmen, but they're just lazy. They just don't want to do things, and they don't. They get away with it. I get in trouble for making videos, and people get away with not doing their jobs. Go figure. I won't miss threats. Southern Pacific, even though it was a more familial place to work, you were more in touch with more people in upper management. They knew who you were. And at Union Pacific, it's not like that. But there was still always if you don't start doing this, we're going to do this. This will happen to you. We're going to make you park your trucks. We're going to make you do this. We're going to make you do that. There'll be consequences if you don't do this. If you get hurt, somebody gets hurt, oh, you're just going to be in so much trouble. And I'm so sick of that. It started mellowing out for a short time over the last 5 or 6 years. It kind of almost went away. And then when the 2020 plan came into effect, it came roaring back like a cancer. And all the company does by beating people over the head with that kind of stuff is ruin their morale. And maybe people who didn't have such a big problem going and doing extra things, going the extra mile, are going to stop doing it. And I know that for a fact. So maybe you guys, if you're watching this, maybe you got to pay attention to that. You won't, but maybe you should. I won't miss waiting for trains. I'm not a ball of fire or a cheerleader rah-rah guy, but if there's something that needs to be done and I'm supposed to be getting it done, I want to get it done. I don't want to sit around all day waiting for trains. And the district I have has the Mojave interlocking. They don't like giving up time in there to work. And although I really didn't have that much trouble getting time there generally, sometimes that was one of the places where I might wait 2 to 5 hours throughout the course of the day trying to get just a few things done. I don't like it. A lot of these dispatchers, they'll have a train in Bakersfield and they'll line him all the way through to Mojave, and they're not going to pull any signals down. Even if you could get your work done in 10 minutes and the train's not going to be where you are for 2 hours, they won't do it, and causes problems. I'm tired of things changing. Not the signal systems. I thought the changing signal system, moving from relay logic into microprocessor signaling, I actually thought that was pretty cool. But I've been through 9 managers and 7 directors. I'm going to do a little piece on my bosses here. I'll put that up later and link this to it. But everybody has a different way of looking at things and a different way of doing things and different expectations. And it's one thing, I mean, my first boss I had for, he was here for the first 10 years I was here, and that was pretty cool. And at Southern Pacific, it wasn't so bad. Your bosses were generally good signalmen. They understood what they were doing. They understood what you were doing. So they didn't have a lot of unrealistic expectations. But after Bill Stocco left, I had quite a few managers with unrealistic expectations. And mostly because those guys had never been in maintenance. And they didn't get it. They didn't get it. They weren't good signalmen. Some of them were. I'll talk about that in my boss's thing. But anyway, and I won't miss trains. I know I said that I'd miss them, but I won't miss them too. I miss the coolness of trains, but I won't miss them when I'm working in my office. I did a video on that, which I'll link in this, what it's like to work in my office 50 feet from Baker Street and 20 feet from the main line, with trains coming and going and switch engines coming and going and horns honking and gates going up and down and engines coming to a stop, idling outside my office and clicking and ticking and popping and taking off, shaking the building and the windows. I won't miss that. I won't miss that at all. And there are times when I'm in one of those moods where I'd rather just be around no noise. And of course, on those days, there's always a ton of trains running and they're honking their horns going by me. And up in Tehachapi, this last job, they go by you really slow. They're going 20 miles an hour up the hill and they're super loud and the wheels are squeaking. And I won't miss that part of trains. Makes cool videos, but it doesn't make a great work environment. But anyway, those are the things that I will miss and that I won't miss. You know what? One of the things I will miss that I forgot to mention is driving. I like driving. I really do. I enjoy it. When I was in the valley, I get tired of driving on 99, so I used to take the back roads coming home, depending on where I was as to which way I went. I'd take the west side of the valley or the east side of the valley and take the back roads and go 55 and just chill and pull over and look at things and whatever. And But on the Tehachapi district, I really enjoyed driving. I enjoyed driving on 58 so much. I used to take the back roads quite a bit. Going up from, I'd just leave out of Edison, take the old road to the Arvin Cutoff and just take it easy. And I love driving out on the Lone Pine branch out there. I really enjoyed that. But so anyway, if you have any comments about what you think you would miss, or when you retired, what you did miss or what you didn't miss, leave in the comments below. Maybe make a video of that, see how your misses and mine matched up or didn't. All right, see y'all later.